Have you ever felt like giving up, like the weight of the world is crushing you and you can't see a way forward? I want you to know that you're not alone. We've all been there. Those moments when life seems to throw everything it's got at us, and we wonder if we have the strength to keep going. But here's the thing, those moments, those challenges, they're not the end of your story. They're just a chapter. And today I want to talk to you about why you shouldn't give up in hard times, why you need to keep pushing forward, even when every fiber of your being is telling you to quit. I remember a time in my life when I was at my lowest. I had lost my job, my relationship had fallen apart, and I was drowning in debt. It felt like everything I had worked for was slipping through my fingers. I spent days in bed, curtains drawn, wondering how I had ended up in such a mess. The thought of facing another day filled me with dread. But then something shifted. It wasn't a dramatic moment. There were no fireworks or sudden epiphanies. It was a quiet realization that crept up on me. I realized that as long as I was still breathing, I had a choice. I could stay in that dark place, or I could try to find a way out. And that's what I want to talk to you about today, the power of choice. The power you have right now in this moment to decide that you're not going to give up. Because here's the truth, giving up is easy. It's the path of least resistance. But it's also the path that leads to regret, to what ifs, to a life half lived. So let's talk about why you shouldn't give up and how you can find the strength to keep going even when everything seems hopeless. First, let's address the elephant in the room. Hard times are, well, hard. They're painful, they're frustrating, and they can make us feel powerless. But here's something I've learned. Hard times are also opportunities. They're opportunities for growth, for learning, for becoming stronger than we ever thought possible. Think about it. When do we grow the most? Is it when everything's easy, when life is smooth sailing? No. We grow when we're challenged, when we're pushed out of our comfort zones, when we're forced to confront our fears and limitations. Hard times are like a forge. They heat us up, they put pressure on us, but in doing so, they have the potential to reshape us into something stronger, more resilient, more capable than we were before. I want you to think about a time in your life when you faced a significant challenge. Maybe it was a failure at work, a health scare, a financial setback. Remember how it felt in the moment, the fear, the uncertainty, the doubt. Now think about how you feel about that experience now. Chances are you can see how that experience shaped you, how it taught you valuable lessons, how it made you stronger. That's the power of perseverance. When we choose not to give up, when we choose to face our challenges head on, we open ourselves up to growth and transformation. But I know what you might be thinking. That's easier said than done. You don't know what I'm going through. And you're right, I don't know your specific situation. But what I do know is this: you are stronger than you think you are. We all have an inner reservoir of strength, a wellspring of resilience that we can tap into during hard times. The problem is, we often forget it's there. We get so caught up in our struggles, so focused on what's going wrong, that we lose sight of our own capabilities. So how do we access this inner strength? How do we find the courage to keep going when everything seems to be falling apart? It starts with a shift in perspective. Instead of seeing your challenges as insurmountable obstacles, try to view them as opportunities for growth. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this situation? How can this experience make me stronger? This shift in mindset doesn't happen overnight. It's a practice, something you need to work on consistently. But the more you do it, the more natural it becomes. And over time, you'll find that you're approaching challenges with a sense of curiosity and determination rather than fear and despair. Another crucial aspect of not giving up is learning to embrace discomfort. We live in a world that often prioritizes comfort and instant gratification. We're taught to avoid pain, to seek out easy solutions. But the truth is, growth and comfort rarely coexist. When you're going through hard times, it's uncomfortable, it's painful, but that discomfort is a sign that you're stretching yourself, that you're pushing beyond your current limitations. It's in those moments of discomfort that real change happens. I'm reminded of a story I once heard about a group of scientists studying the process of how a butterfly emerges from its cocoon. They noticed that the butterfly struggles quite a bit to break free. It's a long, arduous process. In an attempt to help, they decided to carefully cut open the cocoon for one of the butterflies. What they found was surprising. The butterfly that had been helped emerged with swollen wings and a swollen body. It was never able to fly. You see, the struggle to emerge from the cocoon is a crucial part of the butterfly's development. It's through that struggle that the butterfly builds the strength it needs to fly. The same principle applies to us. The struggles we face, the challenges we overcome, they're building our strength. They're preparing us for flight. So the next time you're facing a difficult situation and you feel the urge to give up, remember the butterfly. Remember that the struggle you're experiencing is not just an obstacle to overcome, but a crucial part of your growth and development. Now, I want to talk about another important aspect of persevering through hard times: the power of small steps. When we're faced with significant challenges, it's easy to become overwhelmed. We look at the mountain we have to climb and it seems impossibly high. But here's the thing, you don't climb a mountain in one giant leap. You climb it one step at a time. When I was at my lowest point, the idea of turning my life around seemed impossible. The gap between where I was and where I wanted to be felt insurmountable. But then I learned about the concept of Kaizen, the Japanese philosophy of continuous improvement through small, incremental changes. I started small, really small. On days when I couldn't face the world, my goal was simply to get out of bed and take a shower. That was it. It seemed almost laughably small, but it was a start. And you know what? Those small steps added up. They created momentum. They gave me small wins to celebrate, which in turn gave me the confidence to take on bigger challenges. So if you're feeling overwhelmed by your current situation, I want you to try this. Break down your challenges into the smallest possible steps. What's one tiny action you can take today that will move you in the right direction? Maybe it's making a phone call you've been putting off. Maybe it's spending 5 minutes researching a solution to your problem. Maybe simply writing down your goals. Whatever it is, make it small enough that it feels achievable. Then do it. And celebrate that small victory. Because each of those small steps is moving you forward. They're proof that you're not giving up, that you're still in the fight. Remember, progress isn't always linear. There will be setbacks. There will be days when you feel like you're moving backward. But as long as you keep taking those small steps, you're making progress. You're building momentum. And over time, those small steps can lead to big changes. Now, let's talk about something that's crucial for perseverance but often overlooked: self-compassion. When we're going through hard times, we often become our own worst critics. We berate ourselves for our mistakes. We dwell on our shortcomings. We engage in negative self-talk that only makes our situation feel worse. But here's the truth. Beating yourself up doesn't make you stronger. It doesn't motivate you to do better. In fact, it often has the opposite effect. It drains your energy, lowers your self-esteem, and makes it even harder to keep going. That's why cultivating self-compassion is so important. Self-compassion isn't about making excuses or letting yourself off the hook. It's about treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding that you would offer a good friend who's going through a tough time. Imagine for a moment that your best friend came to you, struggling with the same challenges you're facing right now. What would you say to them? Would you criticize them for their mistakes? Would you tell them they're not good enough? Of course not. You'd offer them support, encouragement, and understanding. So why do we often fail to extend that same compassion to ourselves? Why do we hold ourselves to impossibly high standards and then berate ourselves when we fall short? Learning to be kind to yourself, especially during hard times, is a skill. It takes practice, but it's one of the most powerful tools you have for building resilience and perseverance. Start by becoming aware of your self-talk. When you catch yourself engaging in negative self-talk, pause. Take a deep breath. Then try to reframe your thoughts in a more compassionate way. Instead of, I'm such a failure, try, I'm struggling right now, but that doesn't define me. Instead of, I'll never get through this, try, this is really hard, but I'm doing my best. Remember, acknowledging that you're having a hard time doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're human. And treating yourself with compassion doesn't mean you're letting yourself off the hook. It means you're giving yourself the emotional support you need to keep going. Another crucial aspect of not giving up during hard times is the importance of maintaining perspective. When we're in the thick of a challenging situation, it's easy to lose sight of the bigger picture. Our problems can seem all-consuming, as if they're the only thing that matters. But here's something I've learned. This too shall pass. Whatever you're going through right now, no matter how difficult or painful it might be, it's not permanent. It's a chapter in your life, not the whole story. I remember when I was going through my darkest times, it felt like my whole world had collapsed. I couldn't see beyond my immediate problems. But looking back now, I can see that period for what it was. A difficult but temporary phase in my life. It didn't define me. It didn't determine my future. It was something I went through, something I learned from, something that ultimately made me stronger. Maintaining this perspective isn't always easy. When you're in pain, when you're struggling, it can be hard to see beyond your current circumstances. That's why it's so important to consciously remind yourself that your current situation is not your final destination. One technique I found helpful is to practice what I call future self-thinking. It involves imagining yourself a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. What would your future self want to say to you right now? What advice would they give you? How would they want you to handle this situation? This exercise can help you zoom out and see your current challenges in a broader context. It can remind you that you have a future beyond your current struggles, and that how you handle these challenges now will shape that future. Another powerful way to maintain perspective is to practice gratitude. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Gratitude? How can I be grateful when everything is falling apart? But hear me out. Gratitude isn't about denying your problems or pretending everything is fine when it's not. It's about recognizing that even in the midst of challenges, there are still things in your life worth appreciating. It's about shifting your focus, even for a moment, from what's going wrong to what's going right. When we're going through hard times, our brains naturally tend to focus on the negative. It's a survival mechanism designed to help us identify and deal with threats. But while this focus on the negative might have served our ancestors well when they were trying to avoid predators, it's not always helpful in our modern lives. Practicing gratitude can help counterbalance this negativity bias. It can remind us that even in the darkest times, there is still light. It can help us maintain a sense of hope and possibility. So, I challenge you to try this. Every day, no matter how difficult things are, try to identify 3 things you're grateful for. They don't have to be big things. Maybe you're grateful for a warm cup of coffee, or for a friend who checked in on you, or for the fact that you made it through another day. At first, this might feel forced or artificial, but stick with it. Over time, you'll find that this practice starts to shift your perspective. You'll become more attuned to the positive aspects of your life, even as you're dealing with challenges. Now, let's talk about something that's absolutely crucial when it comes to not giving up: the power of your mindset. Your mindset is essentially the collection of beliefs and attitudes you hold about yourself and the world around you, and it has a profound impact on how you handle challenges and setbacks. There are 2 primary types of mindsets: a fixed mindset and growth mindset. A fixed mindset is the belief that your qualities are carved in stone, that your intelligence, your character, your creative ability are fixed traits that can't be changed in any meaningful way. A growth mindset, on the other hand, is the belief that your basic qualities are things you can cultivate through your efforts, that you can grow your intelligence, expand your talents, and improve your abilities through dedication and hard work. The mindset you adopt has a huge impact on how you approach challenges and setbacks. If you have a fixed mindset, you're more likely to see challenges as threats to your self-permission. You might avoid difficult tasks for fear of failure, or give up quickly when things get tough. But if you have a growth mindset, you're more likely to see challenges as opportunities for growth. You're more likely to persist in the face of setbacks, to see effort as the path to mastery, and to learn from criticism rather than ignoring it. The good news is that mindsets can be changed. Even if you've spent most of your life with a fixed mindset, you can develop a growth mindset. It takes time and effort, but it's absolutely possible. One way to start shifting towards a growth mindset is to pay attention to your self-talk. When you face a challenge or a setback, what do you say to yourself? Do you say things like, "I'm just not good at this," or "I'll never be able to do this"? These are fixed mindset statements. Instead, try adding the word "yet" to these statements. "I'm not good at this yet. I can't do this yet." This simple addition acknowledges that while you might be struggling now, you have the potential to improve with effort and practice. Another way to cultivate a growth mindset is to reframe how you think about failure. In a fixed mindset, failure is seen as evidence of inadequacy. But in a growth mindset, failure is seen as an opportunity for learning and growth. The next time you face a setback, instead of beating yourself up or giving up, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I use this experience to grow and improve? This shift in perspective can turn failures from discouraging experiences into valuable opportunities for growth. Remember, developing a growth mindset doesn't mean you'll never feel discouraged or want to give up. It means you have a tool to help you push through those feelings and keep going. Now, I want to talk about something that's often overlooked when we discuss perseverance and not giving up: the importance of rest and self-care. There's a common misconception that pushing through hard times means constantly grinding, never taking a break, always being on. But here's the truth. Sustainable perseverance isn't about never stopping. It's about knowing when to push and when to rest. It's about taking care of yourself so that you have the energy and resilience to keep going in the long run. Think about it like this. If you were embarking on a long journey on foot, would you just start walking and never stop until you reached your destination? Of course not. You'd take breaks, you'd rest, you'd make sure you were eating and drinking enough to keep your energy up. You'd tend to any blisters or sore muscles along the way. The same principle applies to navigating through hard times. Yes, there will be moments when you need to dig deep and push through. But there will also be times when the best thing you can do is rest, recharge, and take care of yourself. This might mean setting aside time each day for activities that nourish you, whether that's exercise, meditation, reading, or spending time in nature. It might mean prioritizing sleep, even when there's a lot on your plate. It might mean learning to say no to additional commitments so you can focus on what's truly important. Self-care isn't selfish. It's not a luxury. It's a necessity. It's what allows you to show up fully, to bring your best self to the challenges you're facing. And here's something else to remember. Taking care of yourself includes being kind to yourself. It means acknowledging that you're human, that you have limits, that it's okay to not be okay sometimes. There's a Japanese practice called kintsugi, the art of repairing broken pottery by filling the cracks with gold. The idea is that the breaks and repairs are part of the object's history, something to be celebrated rather than hidden. I like to think of this as a metaphor for how we can approach our own hardships and setbacks. Instead of trying to hide our struggles or pretend they never happened, we can acknowledge them, learn from them, and allow them to make us stronger and more beautiful.